All right. So today's episode is we're getting out in the open various American celebrity crimes that have occurred in Ireland. The Matthew Broderick one I brought to the table before we were recording, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah, the bastard, yeah."
Except for me.
No, you
didn't know that?
No, I mean like
The
Matthew
one
Broderick
American.
one, yes, of course. But the other ones, I was like, wait, what? And
The-
you guys were like, oh yeah,
the Jim
of course.
Carrey one is the one that I think no one knows about, and it's also like it's a little less like. Well, is it as damning as the Matthew Broderick one?
Hang on.
Matthew
I think I was
Broderick-
in the bathroom. I don't know about this.
The Jim Carrey one.
What?
See, not even
Charles
Irish
is about to be
people know
ruined.
about it.
About what about the or the Matthew
Oh
Broderick
no,
one?
I don't.
No,
I
Jim
don't
Carrey.
have. I'm not a massive Jim Carrey fan anyway. So tell me everything.
Well, I'm a real Jim Carrey head.
Because you do comedy.
Yeah,
so.
I'm on 2Carry2Jim.com posting in the forums. I can't name 3 of his movies. I'm like Liar Liar, Truman Show, and I'm blanking.
And The Mask.
Eternal
The
Sunshine.
Mask. Oh yeah. So okay, 2016
Eternal
Ireland.
Sunshine, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only
Oh,
case-
God.
Got to
Yeah,
name some more
yeah.
movies.
2016 Ireland, Jim Carrey is out there being like, somebody stop me, or whatever he says in his spare time. No, so what happened there was he had a Polish-Irish girlfriend, I can't remember exactly, but like family lived in Ireland, it was like news in Ireland, who died under mysterious circumstances before we could have like age discourse, because she was younger than me at the time. I think she was like 21, 22, 23.
Ew.
And he's old.
That's
Yeah,
younger than me.
like he's 62 now, and this was like about 10 years ago. So yeah. Basically, there wasn't, as far as I understand, there wasn't a sufficient investigation into her death. I think it's kind of understood, allegedly.
Throw the allegedly in there,
staring at
please.
my lawyer. That like it was an OD, it was an overdose, and for the kids out there who don't know what OD means, it was an overdose, and that he was in some way involved with either like not calling the authorities in time to save her, providing the drugs, whatever. The family was not happy with his response, was not happy with like the investigation into it, and then it was just kind of like not really talked about again.
For some
Yeah.
reason, based on absolutely no evidence,
Yeah.
I've always felt like he was a wrong'un. It's just none of this surprises me
okay.
for some reason that I
I
can't
see
explain.
this movie where he's a lawyer that lies all the time, bad. He puts on a mask and does crimes with his dog.
Kind of cool.
There's one movie where he plays God. I mean, it can't be all
That's
that bad.
that's a little. He's a bit above himself now, isn't he?
That's weird, yeah.
Notions.
Or that he gets, what is it, the power of God or something? I don't fucking
yeah,
remember the
Morgan
plot of-
Freeman is God.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
he
And
gets
then he
power.
gets-
God
Is
powers.
that Bruce Almighty?
That's Bruce Almighty.
Oh,
yeah.
God, I went to see
Almighty.
that in the fucking cinema.
Do you know what I went to see in the cinema? Evan Almighty. The sequel where they could not get anyone back.
Is that Steve
again.
Carell?
Yeah.
Yeah. That he becomes the new god, and it's like Noah's
Noah,
Ark.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's Noah, yeah.
Steve Carell, also based on no evidence, not a wrong'un.
Yeah.
Not a wrong.
I
Good
am
egg.
So, yeah.
Jim Carrey, bad egg.
All right.
Steve
Actually, let's
Carell,
just do
good
this for an hour. Who's in
Who
movies?
gives good vibes?
egg. Good egg, bad
You
egg.
know this Michael Barrymore guy?
Oh, bad egg.
Michael Barrymore was like, you know him?
Yeah.
He was like British TV host years ago.
It's a familiar name.
He
but-
did like the British equivalent of like Kids Say the Darndest Things, you know, and it's
Right,
like,
yeah.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, okay.
and he just like disappeared overnight, and like basically some like really young guy like drowned in his pool and died under mysterious circumstances. And like there was this big police investigation, and then Michael Barrymore's career was just done. But now he's like reviving himself slowly through TikTok as this like.
Oh, yeah.
Through TikTok.
Yeah.
I did not know
TikTok.
that last
Yeah.
part.
What do you do
This
as
is
like
yeah.
Oh, he just
ABC?
shares old clips from his TV shows.
Oh,
And he's like,
fuck,
"This
I've
is me."
seen those.
Yeah,
Those have
yeah.
come. That's him.
That's weird.
I love that this will be the episode that gets us in some form of trouble.
Yeah.
Like
We got very
nothing-
lucky with the Julian Reichelt episode where we like recorded it before the New York Times article came out that basically said all the same stuff, but released it after the New York Times article that said all the same stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Stay winning. Never.
Never.
You can never be guilty of crimes if you're late.
Yeah, like
Don't worry.
that was something that just like a joke went around that I was like, it should be legal to fight a cop if you win. And I'm like, yeah, if you win.
Well, it's
safe.
like, you know, it's
What law can contain
you know what's really
me?
funny? Germany actually has that law.
Oh hell yeah!
Like technically,
what?
yes, Germany. Like
Is that why
you're
they're
allowed to
wearing
like,
all that shit?
So it's not it's a very confusing one because you're not technically allowed to resist arrest, but you are allowed to like
Defend
Beat
yourself.
up a car.
you're allowed to like run out of police custody technically. Like you're allowed to like free yourself
If
in
they
German
can't
law.
catch you,
If they
it's
can't
okay.
catch you,
It's up to them to make
yeah,
sure the law
and it is
tight.
like in Germany, if you escape from prison, it's technically legal.
What? Because
Yes.
you caught them lacking or something.
Yeah, no, because it's like has to do like there's like this weird thing of because it's all Germany being hyper philosophical bullshit of like, well, actually,
so
like you have like
weird.
Freilassungsrecht or whatever that like
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
can do it, you should be allowed
Trixie
to.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like I knew this, but it's because everyone with a dog does this with the Ordnungsamt. As soon as like the Ordnungsamt rolls around and sees your dog without a lead, they're just like, "Well, I hopped my bike," and it's like, "You have to catch me first."
Yeah, it's a very
Poor dogs, like trying to
Like I'm
keep
so
up.
identifiable. I have a very distinct dog. I'm wearing like distinct clothes. But like, nah, that's not enough. You have to like touch me. It's a game of tag. Hey, welcome to your weekly Corner Späti. It is me, Kieran. I'm joined by Uma
Hello.
and Nick.
Hi.
And we are joined by special guests, Matt and Quiva. Say hello, Matt and Quiva.
Hello.
Hi.
Excellent. They did it. Now let's see what else I can make them do.
Gun at them, like, say hi.
As with every episode of Corner Späti, I am holding a gun.
Yeah. Well, we were talking like amongst ourselves of it. Like, if we ever were to transition to video, it would be very funny to do the podcast, the exact same thing, but then film it where we're all wearing balaclavas. But for some reason, only on the video version, our voices are different. But on the audio version, it would be our regular voices.
Everyone is pivoting to video podcasts, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that people feel that other people are doing it, so they have to do it.
Yeah.
Even though people who just should not be doing video podcasts at all. I don't
Because they
mean
got
that.
faces for the
That's
radio.
not what I
So-
Well, it's that, and it's like if I say I'm holding a gun at our lovely guest, it's a joke on the audio podcast. It's deeply concerning on the video podcast.
Yeah, if it looks like it's like the IRA Nightcore remix of the show, it might be a little bit worrying.
No, we're gonna do the sick, cool Catalan flag without any blue in it. I love that version of the flag where it's just red and yellow. It's cool.
Yeah. You know what? Because I sent them a picture, like inspo, and it's just like 3 guys with like this. It's not even a back. It's like a hood. No.
It's
Like,
yeah.
It's like literally like a
Looks
weird
like
What is the
hood,
difference
like,
between
holes and,
like
no, but like that like fits your face a little bit, like
a
that.
balaclava fits your face?
Yeah.
That's the difference between a balaclava and dressing up as a ghost for Halloween.
Yeah,
Just the
exactly.
loose sheets.
Yeah.
I love but the best one, of course, is the just complete lack of care of the thing that like Eto wears, but then they put a hat on top of it.
I know they're like, because we're Basque. This is the Basque hat.
A white bag on their head and then a hat.
Yeah,
I love it. It's-
You're really not helping us beat the
Exactly, I was
Irish
just thinking
terrorist
the same
sympathizer
thing.
allegations.
Well, lucky.
not happy about this being
Let the
released.
No.
allegations fly.
Yeah, no. But again, because like we said, this is not the video. This is not the video. Everything is just make believe.
So they
Yeah.
can't see that we're not actually wearing
Yeah,
hoods.
exactly. Yes, and that we Kieran is not holding a gun.
We're actually running a competition with our fans right now. If they can guess which type of IRA I like, I'll give them a prize. It's not the one you think.
Jesus
Matt, we've made a
Christ.
terrible mistake.
I was gonna say if you're worried about like libeling or defaming Jim Carrey, you can just say it in Irish, and the cops can't understand. it.
Absolutely.
Well, no, you can't say it in Irish because that's illegal.
Yes. What if I just went to the fucking Kirkukara and I was just like I was speaking Irish the entire time. The entire time I'm just like outing every like sex pest in the Irish stand-up comedy scene.
And 99% of them.
Can't touch me now.
Probably.
Bleep person I know.
You guys had Yanis Varoufakis on, right?
Yeah.
Recently. You got him just. Was it like a Zoom call or?
It would have been right.
It was a Zoom call, yeah, but it was before the.
yeah.
Because now he's not even allowed.
He's
to
not
be
even
on
allowed
a
to
Zoom
do
call
Zoom.
in Germany.
No, it's great. Well, you can be on like a private Zoom call. I'm assuming.
I don't think so.
Face
I don't think
No,
so.
he's not allowed to appear
He's not allowed to do a
But he
political
immediately,
event.
immediately made a video talking about how he's not. He was like, I am banned from making videos such as this very video.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Which was a real ball.
But I can't even just like FaceTime him and be like, "What's the weather like?"
No, I think you could, yes.
Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
but if you were FaceTiming him asking what the weather was like, and it's also a political discussion,
I think
that's illegal.
I think we can backdoor it in. We get him to speak at a bunch of like video game development conferences under the pretense he's going to talk about like the Steam economy
yeah.
that he worked on, and then just like get him to go on a rant about Palestine. We can make it happen. It's a bunch of confused nerds.
Didn't he do that for a while, actually?
Yeah.
Like
He's
his longest job was
he worked at fucking Valve. Yeah.
No, but he's like actually like gone around and like done like talks recently about Steam stuff, which is like very weird.
When we announced that we were going to have Yanis on, all of the listeners kept asking us, being like, "Ask him about Team Fortress 2 hats." All right, so let's actually talk about something real and important. Okay, so for everyone listening outside of Germany, and also people probably in Germany, we have named season 3 of Corner Späti of Germany is on one, because they have been for a while. And this is recently manifested as... this is really recently manifested in around the occupation against occupation, which is, let me try this, Besatzung gegen Besatzung.
Yeah, you got it.
Besetzung.
Besetzung gegen
Besetzung.
Yeah.
Gegen
Fuck it.
Besatzung.
Yeah.
The nuances of the German,
I hate it.
the reason the words are slightly different is lost on me. I don't know why. But,
It's, I actually do know why.
please enlighten
So,
us.
and I will. Because we had to look this up and we were translating it into Irish, and in the end we just put it in German. Besetzung is like an occupation, like a literal occupation, like the way you would say that a toilet is occupied.
Oh,
And
right.
Besatzung is
Yeah,
a military
besetzt.
occupation.
Yeah.
Oh.
It makes sense.
That's okay.
My brain
That's
was very
I hate this distinction, but okay, no, that rules actually. This is the kind of like esoteric language knowledge I love. All right, so Occupation Against Occupation was a large protest event demo in front of the Bundestag that had been camping out there for I don't know how long now in total. 2-3 weeks?
2 weeks.
2
yeah.
weeks.
It's a bit more.
I think it was 2 weeks as of last Friday, so I think.
Oh, you're right.
I think
yes,
maybe 3
almost
now.
3.
3
yeah.
weeks.
Oh, well,
Okay.
3 yesterday.
And we will get into what happened to that a little bit later. And if you're listening, you've probably seen a handful of stuff that went down at that. We talked about the couch being arrested and the couch being released. Because, of course. And that kind of indicates the fragility and insecurity of the German state right now, where they are confiscating a couch. But I guess we can just go directly into it of like the police come down with a rule about a week ago now that they kind of came in with this rule. And what was this rule?
Yeah, so the cops were cracking down on people speaking Arabic in the last days of Ramadan. That's how it started. So there are lots of videos of this, of people. I think there was one guy who was praying alone, was arrested because he didn't have an interpreter.
Jesus Christ.
And
Yeah,
so-
please interpret the Shahada for me.
Yeah, exactly. And you're watching the video and it's very clear what's going on. You know, he's like on a prayer mat, like
Yeah.
chanting, and they're, you know.
Due to a fuck up at the police department, we've all converted to Islam.
But yeah, so it was kind of an escalation. I think it was the Saturday demo just before I noticed that there were a lot of interpreters in police vests. And I remember we were kind of talking about it in the group, sort of like, what, like, that's quite odd actually, and it's new and also like completely unnecessary. There were no speeches in Arabic. Actually, almost none of the chants, apart from like Palestine Hurrah, is in Arabic.
Sure.
So I remember just kind of clocking that, being like, what is that? What's that? Who's that for? And then, lo and behold, a couple of days later, there was this massive crackdown on Arabic speaking at the camp. And I was like, that's what that was for. Providing this kind of like image of Arabic being something that's dangerous, that maybe people are plotting and we need to know what they're saying, etc. And so we, as a group, just kind of as a joke, we're like, let's just go and hang out at the camp and speak a bit of Irish and have a Kirkakora and sing Oro Shiva Hawalia. And,
Yeah, I think as well, it was always going to be a win-win when we did that, because either they allowed us to speak Irish, revealing how
which case we're
arbitrary and racist this ban was,
Yeah.
or they did what they did and banned us from speaking Irish and just made it into international news.
For being racist and are like just bureaucratically dumb.
Hey, the moderators of the anti-Irish sentiment Wikipedia page need to add something into the calendar of
It was that was really one of the ones that was just kind of like, because when I mean, we can like go more in depth with I guess what happened, but the initial thing of course the Arabic one was like, all right, yeah, like Berlin, no surprise, you know. There is always like I guess for people who like are not aware of this, like in Germany at like demonstrations, particularly in things with the like Arab or like Kurdish or Turkish community, the police always do have interpreters.
And if they don't, I saw them once, they just record it.
Yeah.
And they just must send it to someone and then be like, okay, this kid was saying this. And they were just recording like teenagers chanting in Arabic.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the thing of it is that then it's like this method of kind of like surveillance culture of the police has always been integral within it, particularly of like policing, you know, migrant brown communities in Germany. It's very targeted, of course, because you don't have the interpreters for English there. You don't have interpreters for, you know, let's say if there was like a Swedish demonstration or something, or a Polish one.
Another language that's actually quite prevalent in Berlin, but it's white, Spanish.
Yeah, Spanish. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's not like they may be there, but it's not the level of like. This has always been a thing too that I think is like for people who've been to demonstrations in Germany before. That like how because like the Palestine Congress, if you watch the live feed, I believe this is in there too. That you have to give like the continuous list of things in Germany that you're not allowed to do, say, or whatever. And this is of course always only at events that are from non-white communities. Like you can go, you never can go to like an AF. I mean, they may have the thing of like you can't say like, you know, Heil Hitler or something like that. But that's just like an obvious that I think they don't have to say. They figure out other ways of doing it. But I mean, like, they'll have the like these symbols are banned, but it's also like that's not as hyper regulated, I would say, as if you go to say, I don't know, like a Kurdish solidarity protest or whatever, or a, you know, Palestine solidarity protest, where it is very much like in the sense the police will use any instance to just be like, oh yeah, you said this or this image was shown or whatever, this and then that, you know, party's over, bye, you know. And this is like, the thing is that then seeing this tactic used at demonstrations, unfortunately, it's always kind of the thing of like, well, that's how it is, you know. That's unfortunately, Germany is racist, this and that and that. These type of politics are dealt with in this matter always. But then seeing it then done at such an extreme level of this was just kind of like, I don't know. Even with this, with this structure already existing, it seems too ridiculous. You know, like it's like so openly just like, oh yeah, like not only do we have the interpreters, we're not going to use them, just don't speak a different language but German or English, you know.
Austerity affects us all. We can't pay the interpreters anymore. But it's
the police does have a problem finding interpreters for certain languages.
I'm sure they
Irish.
Well, first off, good, because an Irish person working with the cops in Berlin needs a talking to.
Yeah.
Like,
or you go in there as just like a complete double agent and be like,
I was just going to say the same. I would have said yes to it for that reason if I were an Irish language interpreter.
it's actually crazy. Chuck your law means I love the German state. I love the Bundesrepublik.
It means
but in an appropriate way.
It means Staatsräson. Yeah.
They could have got this guy. He's I forget his name, but he works for the German embassy in Ireland, and I wasn't aware of him. But they had him on Radio na Gaeltacht to like yesterday, or the day before, speaking about this, and like because Inge Schnodig from Sinn Féin is like demanded an apology from the German state for this, which is a bit dramatic but fun. Like,
sure,
we were happy to see that, but and this guy goes on Radio na Gaeltacht to speaking fluent Irish, and says that the German state is not going to apologize. And I was looking him up, and he's like, I don't really get his background, but he's fully a German man who set up like Corner Späti here. So this Irish speaking group here that refused to like engage with the Irish Bloc here as well.
Oh, so okay. Okay, I have weird experience with this. So slight tangent, but the German relationship to Irish language and Celtic stuff always goes a little bit folkish.
Oh, it's
very weird, and it's like upsetting. But people
you people do anything without being absolute freaks.
Well, because like the thing with it is like the Celtic tribes originate from what are now like German speaking lands like Switzerland. So they kind of like go into this whole like, oh, this was like the original like Germans. For some weird people, it almost feels like a substitute for like Aryans. That's maybe a little too flamboyant, but there is like a very strong interest in like Irish culture here. People who have tried to learn Irish as an adult, there's a famous website that looks like it was made in like the 90s. It's just like basic text, and it just gives you very detailed all the grammar of Irish and all the rules. I think it's like synergy.com or something like that. It's very straightforward. That was made by a German person.
I mean, and there's also like so many like retired right-wing German hippies living in mobile homes along the west coast of Ireland and stuff. It's like such
No,
they love it.
But there is just kind of just a fetishization of
Yes.
Ireland that's also quite common in France.
Oh, sure.
I made some money out of it when I was living there.
We've all scammed the odd continental. But like,
I was a student in France and like made a good enough living being an Irish Colleen for hire.
yes.
So I play the harp and sing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably leads back into the stuff that like we kind of encouraged, the whole like branding of Kerrygold and stuff being like originally sold to British people, being like, remember the countryside, remember your childhood, it's all gone, but you can have some butter. It's basically the idea of that. But anyway, tangent over. Sorry. Back to what's happening. To Kriva's point though, which I think I found most fascinating about this, and I think like, so I saw this first as like, this event is happening, and I was like, cool, I want to go to that. I'm taking an international flight, I can't. But then I see Matt post about all the shit that goes down, and
International flight. Didn't you just like go to the UK?
that's an international flight.
You made it sound like that you're going to like Dubai or something.
I
like
went
that.
to Preston Pass, Vladimir Putin's favorite place in Scotland that I found out. So, but anyway, and I see all these comments, and like I think one of the like weird kind of like this is fine kind of rationalization for this was like, oh sure, like when you do these kind of big public events, it should be in a language the cops understand. However, that isn't really what happened, because like as you were saying, no actual like official speeches or events are being conducted in Arabic. This is just people having conversations.
Yeah, which is also, maybe this is skipping ahead, but it's also what happened to us. Like we were sitting in small groups on picnic blankets, and they wouldn't let us speak to each other at all. Like they wouldn't let us sing, and they can, but they were very unclear in their stipulations.
Yeah, absolutely. And they split us up into small groups, and then each of these cops had a completely different opinion of why we weren't allowed to do the things. Like
one told me that we couldn't gather in groups of 2 or more. Like we just all had to be alone.
in a
Oh,
park
that's left over from COVID.
Yeah. Well, then I mean, like I think that's just like, I mean, because we saw this at the Palestine Congress as well. Is that the entire time you would like, the police didn't know what was going on first off, and then they would just like be like, everyone be like, yeah, you can't do this or this, or like, why is this being done? And they're just like, I'm the big man in charge. Like they wouldn't give a reason.
because I said so.
Yeah. It's like, well, I'm gonna beat you up more or less. Like it's like because I have like 40 pounds of Kevlar on me. You know, like
Because to something that maybe hasn't been said yet, this isn't a law.
no,
Like this is
No,
just
this is,
something that
what
the
do they
cops
call
kind
it?
of
An
count.
Auflage or
There's like these administrative acts that they say that there was. So they said there was this administrative act. I forget the German word, but
Verwaltungsakt.
Verwaltungsakt, yeah. And then people asked like, okay, can you produce this in writing? And they said no, but we can get it if one of you comes with us. And obviously we said one of us is not going alone with all these RoboCops.
I've seen this movie before.
And then they said that we were welcome to file a complaint regarding their
which really made me feel empowered.
Oh, yeah.
Listen
to
to
produce the act.
I love that when I got assaulted by the BVG, I got the same thing of like, you can file a complaint. I'm like, this isn't the problem. I got beat up. Like it's of course I'm gonna complain.
It's not a bug. It's not a bug with the app.
So I guess let's actually just go to the events because so this language ruling kind of comes in. It's not law. The police kind of do this. I think I remember hearing about like the police in Hamburg doing basically something similar during G20 to like.
And true. But I also think so that a lot of these cops that have been brought into Berlin the last few weeks are from Hamburg,
right?
And have been trained basically at G20 and did the same. And these like Hamburg police battalions kind of infamous for having quite a lot of Nazi sympathizers in the ranks as well.
Yeah. Also, when Olaf Scholz was the mayor there, approved a lot of like some of the most like brutal policing tactics that Germany has, like usage of like what is the thing that we've talked about? Where like to like get people to like throw up or whatever, that the police Julia's talked about it before.
Yeah,
like,
they have like a spray or something.
or whatever that then like makes you sick or whatever, and they've like killed people with it and stuff like that.
Jesus.
So it's it doesn't. I mean, in that way, it would not surprise
skunk?
me. And
The skunk
it's
thing.
something or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like it's to incapacitate you. It's like a riot control thing. It like makes you like, but if too much of it makes
Sick.
you like incredibly ill, and it can kill you.
Doesn't it just feel so safe because
Yeah.
of these things, you know?
Well, you were speaking Irish, which was very dangerous. You can't be doing that. But like my understanding of how this all kind of like goes on is basically the police do these things that will later kind of be like, if brought to court, are later proven to be unconstitutional, but then there's no like consequences for it. So they just do it. I heard stories of like in G20, like them strip searching like minors basically. So to that point, this language ruling happens, and then the Irish Bloc responds with something people might have been able to piece together with context clues, but let's just say it directly into the mic now.
Yeah, I mean, we decided to have this core off. But so maybe to clarify some points as well, that initially we did go to the camp. It was actually, the police told us we had to leave so fast I hadn't even arrived yet. I got there, I was like, oh, it's already over, which I was delighted with. My Irish is not great. So, off the hook here. But,
well, this police authoritarianism has really saved me. Some embarrassment.
But so after that, it was when they said, like, you need to go 20 meters that way, then another 20 meters, split it up into small groups. And then, we sat in the blankets, just started speaking some more Irish, sang Or Hoisha de Vahawalia. The police said, no, you can't do that, split us up into even smaller groups. And then started telling us that we had to go back to the camp, which they had just kicked us out from, or leave the area. And it took a while. We never got an answer. I was like, what is the area? Like, where in the
Where does
city
the area
can
end?
I sit and talk to my friends? Is there anywhere?
Brandenburg.
And
You
then
have to
they
go to Brandenburg.
Then they specifically said that we were forbidden from assembling anywhere else. And you're like, what? We're like, they're neither like 25 people. We're just like a bunch of mates.
Right.
We
So,
can
Nick,
go
we need you to cut the
wherever
recording
we
right now.
want.
This podcast is illegal.
Yeah, this
apparently.
podcast apparently is illegal now. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why I feel like you were going to say something else there.
Obviously then they followed us through the museum that's near the Bundestag. It was just like we were all kind of laughing at them. It was just so ridiculous. I mean, there was a point where we basically had to decide: are we going to actually just say no and say fine, arrest us? Like, would that be productive, or do we leave? We decided to do the latter, which ended up actually. We basically went to this bar, and then they waited outside for hours, and we kind of were sat there thinking, like, the cops kind of did pretty well there to split us up. We're all gone, like the demonstration's over.
Yeah.
They actually got what they wanted, and maybe we should have done something else. And then, as you say, I tweeted about it, and then the next morning I woke up and it just blown up. I don't know who retweeted it first, and I said all these messages from journalists in my DMs being like,
Oh, right.
and at that point we realized like that the ban of Irish was this like really catchy kind of thing that people, especially back home, got really riled up by.
Yeah, it had a lot of like sort of golden characteristics for an Irish audience. It's like pro-Palestine solidarity, police repression, language rights, freedom of speech, freedom to exercise your identity in a political context. It's just very like just tailor-made for. it's just a Fenian catnip.
Yeah, I mean, like, even from someone who is not nearly as informed of all these things, it was kind of the stuff of like, oh, Germany's dumb. Germany just gave like the Irish like press and everything just like the easiest like softball story.
Yeah,
Like,
it does kind of feel like you've entrapped them, but like then you realize the trap is like a very obviously like spotlight on like just a crate being held up with one stick, just like if you fell for this. Like.
Well, one of the camp organizers or volunteers or whatever put it in a message, said it's so fun to watch them Streisand affect themselves.
oh
And
yeah.
And then said that's what they get for being so anti-Semitic. They miss out on the opportunity to learn from one of our greatest Jews. Which I thought was a good joke.
Oh yeah. So the response has been from the police has been weird, and like I think I kind of maybe said it earlier off mic or something. It's all a haze, but like it does kind of portray a insecurity about the whole thing. Like for people who aren't like familiar with Berlin in general or like how German police kind of operate, they're always in like something that's very different from like the UK, for example, or Ireland. They're in platoons. Like they're always in like groups of like 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always just like Matt surrounded by like just jacked people, just like absolutely
like a
just
whole squad,
just
of,
like
like an entire like Mannschaftswagen full of cops.
Because we were thinking like, well, like at the very least, what we did there was distract like loads of these cops from being at the camp. But then I was like, there does seem to be an endless amount. Like I don't think that,
yeah,
like,
they're shipping them in from everywhere. I remember because at the Palestine Congress, they were all from like Duisburg or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming
Not
they're
nervous
just
fun.
like they just did the May 1st order.
Yeah,
exactly. They do it every year
yeah.
for May 1st. They get like every cop in Germany to come to Berlin.
But was it you was saying when we were in the restaurant that a bunch of them came in to use the toilet, but they all came in and
Because obviously they were waiting outside. we forgot about them.
Too
So we were like,
scared to go
okay,
one by one.
the evening's over. We'll
ridiculous.
just drink some beers, and then like they obviously at some point waiting outside needed to use the bathroom.
And then all 8 of them just come in at the same.
That is so ridiculous.
Every
They
like
just
really
hold each other's tasers while
every really unfair stereotype of like that made about girls in the club is actually true of Berlin cops.
Yeah. Do you think like while one of them is like taking a piss, the other like 7 of them surround them? You can't,
They're all saying really nice and affirmative things to each other in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. That stereotype about girls in the club is pretty accurate.
No, is it?
Yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't-
true.
That's not an unfair
I don't
stereotype.
frequent the club.
No. Women's toilets in clubs are some of the best places in the world.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I just listened to that 50 Cent song. I was like, I get the vibe. I understand what clubs are like now. I don't need to go.
You're so painfully a dad. It hurts.
Look, I can talk about Paw Patrol until the cows come home or whatever. But so at this point, so this is starting to blow up on social media, and I guess Irish media has started picking up on it. And like, what has been the response from any kind of established outlets or anyone really?
In Ireland or in Germany?
Both. If I haven't actually seen anyone in Germany respond to
Well,
this or acknowledge
precisely
this.
the point,
If you
yeah.
have examples of Germans responding to this, I'd love to hear it because
Well, Matt had a lot of weirdos on your Twitter.
Yeah, I got a lot of Germans responding to me
Yeah.
on Twitter for sure. But in terms of media, I mean, I guess that's kind of, I think, was almost the point as well because we all know that this police repression's happening in Berlin constantly, but the German media do not want to talk about it at all. They do not report on it. But then you have like a bunch of like white Irish people being told they can't speak Irish. The Irish media pick up on it, and all of a sudden, as you say, the German state just looks stupid and embarrassed. So the Irish media have been yeah, just kind of reporting on it more or less fairly. Like there's most of the papers, radio, TV.
You can also feel like when we've all been trying to share the kind of spokesperson role or whatever. For a bunch of different reasons. But I've been kind of talking to the journalists myself and then passing them on to people when they come through, because they either come to you through Twitter or to me through Instagram, or the two of us that do Instagram. Yeah, the various prominent news outlets who have been in touch.
In Ireland, yes.
Just the solidarity is so apparent. There's not even any real, whereas, you know, I don't know what your experience was with your other non.
Oh yeah,
no, we can't name any of these outlets.
A particular British news outlet. We were actually the first to reach out, first one to get an interview, and it just never came out, and it just got killed. The story.
Yeah, I'm also like curious in the sense of if and when German outlets were to then come out at you, what would then that interaction be like? Because German
tense.
journalists are very bizarre because it feels like that they work backwards, and they work very much in the sense of I need to prove how this is somehow like that the Irish people are the bad ones. And I'm going to come in here with like I've just seen this then happen in the sense with anyone else who's been approached by German journalists, where it's like, how am I going to prove that then that these people are like, you know, Hamas loving at like psychopaths, and not that I'm the freak.
It's very like I did my essay in college wrong, where I like kind of wrote a bunch of stuff before doing any actual research.
Yeah, it's the
you have to like retrofit it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the example of the thing of like when that thing of someone complaining that they like followed all of Ben Shapiro's rules to like debate and write an essay, and they failed their English class or whatever. And it's like it has that vibe in the sense of like they're coming into then the field of journalism being like, I have to defend the German state no matter what, even if I'm like not like I don't think that I'm right wing, but this is an issue that Germany like has to be right on. And it's very like, I don't know. I'm curious of what was your experience with that, because mine's been that always.
We have a few. So the media that have reported on us are either the kind of very alternative media. I think we had something in Junge Welt.
Yeah, Junge Welt did have
Junge
something about
Welt.
it.
We had and Neues Deutschland, a really good piece. I know that the Neues Deutschland piece was Nathaniel Flack.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
not German. We did also have a prominent German press outlet that I won't name, who got in touch and did an interview, and then had a similar experience to what you had, and the journalist was not German and was very confused and surprised as to why the higher ups had maybe blocked the story.
Right.
So this is. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Oh, no. You can say that. I experienced something like that at the Frankfurter Buchmesse, weirdly enough. Funny that you mentioned that, because I have seen that happen as well, too, where like an intern goes and gets a story, and they're like, they report it normally how you would. They go and bring it to someone, and they're like, you didn't make them out to look like absolute insane people. Yeah. No, we're killing this after like an hour of like publishing it or whatever. Yeah. Like this is a thing. Germany's weird.
Yeah,
but like
Germany is weird.
Germany's very weird.
Germany, we can all agree Germany's weird. But like it's the fucking Noam Chomsky shit. We've been talking about this for ages in every country of just like top the editors, the kind of like leadership kind of like roles within any kind of like publication is where like the ideology happens.
The manufacturing consent way too hitting a little bit too strong.
Where it's everyone who does like the kind of reporting or actually writing of articles for like the FT are like Marxists, but then like none of the editors.
Yeah, because they're the only people who understand the global economy properly. Because if you're like a beady-eyed like actual capitalist, like. You know, you're not gonna like. It's gambling.
You can't keep publishing the same article about how Tesla is great. I need to actually know how Tesla's doing. So
and the classic line, I think, when if you're an intern or a young journalist and you bring a story to your editor that they don't want to publish, the classic line is, our readers just wouldn't be interested in that.
Exactly.
Because in general, when it comes to the occupation against occupation, I have seen basically nothing in German reporting. The only thing I saw was actually like today when I actually saw like Berliner Fenster talk about it being dismantled.
Yeah.
And I was
because of hate speech.
yeah.
I think that's what I caught from the fence.
I believe the official reason is potential like anti-Semitism.
Yeah, that's
or
the thing
something.
that
Absolute Minority Report.
We're doing
Like, this-
Minority Report. Yeah.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, Tom Cruise is busting through and just beating up a bunch of people sitting on the grass.
Yeah. It's really funny how the Minority Report program was defeated by all the future crimes they saw happening were all in Irish. They're like, I have no idea what's going on here.
If only we had one person who could interpret all these future crimes for us.
Yeah.
Well,
But the language stuff is like that because even you see people who like are trying to be sensible centrists about the whole language ban. Like, well, the cops have to understand what you're saying. Like, why?
Yeah.
They also,
Why are they
like,
listening? Why do they
don't-
care what I'm saying? Like,
Germany
Yeah.
has a very weird obsession with this like crime prevention thing more so than I think. I mean, the United States has this through things like the Patriot Act and whatnot. Anti-terrorism stuff is like
Yeah.
chock full of bullshit like that.
what's Peter Thiel's weird fucking
Oh, it's
surveillance
named after
software?
some fucking
Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings
Rings
shit.
shit. Yeah.
And it's all about like
Fucking Gandalf.
predicting where crimes are going to happen.
Yeah.
So the cops just go there and then start arresting people.
Yeah, no, like it's like
But also, like, if I wanted to bomb the Bundestag, I wouldn't like talk about it in front of it,
No.
in front of the cops, with like 20 of my mates.
yeah,
You know
just
what I
going up to
mean?
the
Like,
officer in Irish, being like,
In
"Boy,
Irish,
today's
like,
a great
boy."
day to do crime." Yeah, boy,
I do love saying that Osquelga, to be fair. Yeah, like it is the but again to Quiva's initial point, like initial description of this event is like when the centrists try to come in, like the cops need to know what you're saying, and it's like the cops need to know what like I can understand the like cops need to know like official publications, official like speeches at the events, not like everyone's conversations who happen to be there.
Exactly. I mean, we all read 1984 in school. It's like we know where this goes. That's why it kind of the Sinn Féin statement that was like poo-pooed by the ambassador, the German ambassador to Ireland, said that it was verging on the Orwellian. And the German ambassador said that's absolute nonsense. Democracy in Germany is in rude health or something like that. That's such an exaggeration to say that it's verging on the Orwellian, but it's like, no, it's
Yeah.
it's very, very easy to see how
Bad,
that's
yeah.
exactly what it is.
Oh, speaking of, I wish there was like a radical Esperanto group who could have done the exact same thing. Because Orwell hated Esperanto.
I'm pretty sure my dad has at least one mate who's like a radical
Oh,
leftist
you give
Esperanto
him
speaker.
my number. I need to
yeah.
practice this language with someone, anyone.
We played with the idea as well of just going and like talking complete gibberish. Just like absolute
Just
nonsense.
That would
Singing
be
Cocteau
so
Twins songs.
funny. You feel threatened by gibberish? Aw.
Yeah.
That was actually just credit where credit's due. That was Comrade Sofa's idea.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, by Instagram.
what language? What
Whoever
language
it is,
does a
in my
sofa
head, it is
speak?
actually a sofa typing.
Yeah, exactly. I just, I find it also very interesting. Just, I don't know. Yeah, kind of back to that like crime prevention thing too, because it also kind of goes into the sense of how like because Germany uses this always to specifically like to attack like left wing groups more so than I think anyone else, and this like the anti-Semitism one was like obviously of course the same reason that they closed down or the potential anti-Semitism was the reason why the Palestine Congress was also shut down by the police in a very illegal manner as well too, and this thing is very odd because people think that this is like a function that's like brand new, but like there's an entire part of the government that's entirely for that with like the Verfassungsschutz and whatnot. And the thing that then becomes also very frightening is that then it's like the police have these methods that then also the Verfassungsschutz like legally uses around to then why they investigate. Yes, people like, oh, I love when they investigate, Björn Höcke, but that's like maybe 10% of their actual work. I feel that then the other 90% of it is like attacking environmentalist groups, attacking leftists, attacking this, attacking that, and always under the pretense of like, well, they might be doing terrorism.
The first time we talked about
and they've never done actual crimes.
the first time we talked about the Verfassungsschutz on this show was when the Bavarian branch of the Verfassungsschutz put out an APP for
Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson, because someone on Facebook was posting it like with Jeremy Clarkson as their profile picture and like a Kurdish flag in the background.
That's wonderful.
So like that's just kind of like that's the level we're at.
I love
think,
the arc where Jeremy Clarkson just like spends 10 years in the Iraqi desert with as a PKK sniper or something. Yeah, I mean, that would be much better than what he does now, actually.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But like, yeah. So this the action highlights the kind of it highlights this kind of like rule that like the German police try to put into place, and like how farcical it is. How like, let's be real, gang, it was mostly to stop like Arabic and probably Turkish Germans from speaking Arabic and Turkish. And then at the same time, it has also gathered a lot of attention, which is good because I don't think a lot of people knew about this language rule beforehand that had been put into place, or even, as we were talking about, the occupation itself. Occupation against occupation. And not enough actual people know about the occupation as well, so it's good. So this kind of leads us to where we are now, which is that the camp has been kind of like violently dismantled as of basically today, right? Or yesterday. Yesterday as of recording, which is last Friday if you're listening to this relatively properly. Which who knows what happened there, because it all just came very suddenly.
I was there.
Right.
I was there. Somebody put in the chat that they had just announced that the cops had just announced that they were evacuating the camp within an hour. So they gave them an hour's notice. And also I think the fact that they'd kind of announced that they were extending the camp meant that things like the infrastructure there had become like it had started to run really well. There was like a sort of catering area. People were donating a lot of money, a lot of tents. There was a lot of like just kind of materials and tech, and it was great. It was really well made, well functioning. So obviously the cops decided to take them by surprise in the middle of Friday when everyone was at work.
Berlin taking down another tech startup. How?
And so those of us that could get there quickly did. I got there by about an hour, so I was able to get in. Other people who got there, they'd actually closed up. They stopped trains from stopping at Bundestag.
What the
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So they were the U-Bahn. So people were texting in the group, just like they won't let us get off here. So they had to get off at Hauptbahnhof and walk, and then they wouldn't let people cross the bridge even.
Oh my god!
The police. It's not going to surprise anybody at this point, but the police presence was
intense.
Yeah.
Several of the wagons had arrived. Yes.
It was funny. At one point, they were kind of like doing that thing that they were like sort of trying to kind of disperse us by like forming lines and like doing a big game of Red Rover, and and I could hear them talking to each other, being like, "There aren't enough of us. Kraft ist nicht ausreichend. We need backup."
You never want to hear them say that. There's so many of them.
There's so many, but there were maybe they're like, no, they prefer there to be like 3 cops to every one person, obviously, and that was not the. And I think
that's so pathetic.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I got there too late to actually get into the main camp where they had sort of encircled people and started arresting. They were like destroying everything. They brought knives to cut everything apart, and they were like stamping on stuff.
I saw a video as well of like 8 cops struggling to take one tent down as well. Just like not really knowing how it works.
How many cups does it take?
I saw them at one point. It got to the point where they couldn't take them down, so they just started dragging them, which was even like, I'm like, it's like,
I know I've done that when I've gotten like just woken up camping, hungover. And it's like, how do I do this again?
Yeah, the last time I went camping, I put my tent in the bin at the end. So people in glass houses, but
but it was only one of you. not
Yeah.
8 of you.
There's
versus
only
the
one very
10.
hungover person, and it
Oh,
was
no,
my
it-
own tent.
It's sad when 8 people come to the
Yeah,
consensus this
also-
tent needs to go into a bin.
Also, it's men. Like, how many of them? Like, they probably
Excuse
talk.
me? What?
No. The police probably are like a bunch of like dopey men like dragging this tent, who then probably also brag about how like, bro, I can pitch a tent faster than like anyone in the squad. But then, yeah, like it's like this thing with also the what's it called when they were trying to break into the into that room.
that was really
where you're
funny,
just like,
isn't it?
it's like watching a bunch of just like absolute buffoons, just
You're
like.
just-
This is at the conference.
Yeah.
When like
Yeah.
and someone in the background's like, we have a key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll give you the
The
key.
owner of the place is like, I literally have the key.
Yeah,
Please.
I mean, not that in the sense that then people were gonna like nicely take their tents down and stuff like that. Of course not. Like, you know, like that's like, but just the fact that then that the police like in kind of all the like ridiculous nature of all this, of them trying to be like, oh, we need to like take these like extra steps forward to be as hyper, you know, to pin down anything that could possibly be bad, is that then. In this, in the silliness of of initial thing, it's like they also behave in the like most like
Yeah,
like you
bless
could
them.
like
They're not the smartest.
yeah, like you could have like the like going in the background the entire, except for like when they're beating the shit out of people. But it's just like then they like it just feels that then that they get overwhelmed by people doing nothing. Like it's so just pathetic, just step after step after step. You
They
know,
get overwhelmed by people doing nothing, by people incorrectly forming the conditional tense in Irish. Like, yeah, it's pathetic.
Yeah, you could really feel that yesterday because they like at one point they kettled us into a group. I wasn't actually even part of the group that they'd kettled, but I was like standing nearby looking a bit too cheeky, so they grabbed me. My friend took a great video of me being like thrown into the middle of this group and then everyone cheering, someone giving me some dried mango and then me just giving the cops a big thumbs up.
That is like German like
Yeah.
solidarity. Here's a
Totally.
bag of some
Here's a
like
bag
bio
of-
snacks.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone else was like, "Do you need any water? We've got water. We've got
that's
dried
really
mango.
good.
We've got snacks." It's like, this is the cutest bunch of criminals.
I love
I've
the
ever been
sense
part of.
that the German, like, yeah, that the German natural thing is just to have like a trip sitter. It's quite lovely. Like,
Look, we're getting kettled in by the police, but this is the chill out kettled in by the police. Here's some orange slices and some water.
I've brought the hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
yeah, here's a kohlrabi that I've cut up at home.
We're the only ones who eat this crop. We have to eat it.
So, yeah, there were also grapes. I
yeah.
remember, yeah.
Yeah.
But
This is what you missed out on, folks.
yeah, being
Snacks.
being punched by cops and grapes. So yeah.
But yeah, so it's been violently dismantled now, and the clips are circulating, which is mentioned to a German friend last night. But it's just like it's never good when the rest of the world is paying attention to what Germany is doing. Like you never. The default position is you kind of like don't want to hear what's happening in Germany. It should just be like
No news is good news where Germany's concerned.
yeah, exactly. Or like we've made this like very polluting car. slightly
Yeah,
more
exactly.
efficient.
Yeah, like Mercedes made a new car and
Yeah.
it goes fast and costs a lot of money. That's the
Vroom,
only
vroom,
news.
beep, beep.
Yeah, vroom vroom beep beep. Everything's fine in Carland.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I want nothing. I want to know nothing else about this country.
No.
But no, unfortunately,
They insist on doing incredibly violent and dumb shit, or at least in the last while. But yeah, so this is it's escalated to this point. More people are paying attention and are like, as one of the few people of my like friend groups who have decided to move to Germany, the question I am getting most often is I was like, so what the fuck's going on in Germany?
Did you have as well like a lot of so many people are talking like so many expats and immigrants to Berlin are talking like, oh, I just don't see myself here long term now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're staying here. You love the methadone too much. Like, come on. Like it's just
Give it up. No, but there's literally like there was an article ages ago. I still can't get over this. I've probably mentioned it 5 times of like a CEO from a company in East Germany talking about like we are racisming our way into a recession. Like literally like Italians are getting beaten up at night. Like we cannot like sustain this. No one. We have this massive labor shortage. No one wants to come here anymore. So that's like really fun. But okay, so that is everything that has happened. I'm going to give like last words to our lovely guests here before we start closing out and asking people where they can find you. But is there anything else you want to say about this, about the camp at large, at the Irish Bloc event, like a protest and demo event, that hasn't been said already?
Well, I guess, I mean, it's kind of, I think, come through in what we're saying, but the point again, and we feel like we need to stress this to people back home as well, is that Irish hasn't been banned in Germany. Like, solidarity with Palestine is the thing that's effectively been being criminalized. Like, if we were at some Zionist march speaking Irish, no one would care.
Yeah,
the
this is
police would let us
collateral
do
damage.
Yeah, they fucking love it.
yeah, they'd love the PR.
The vision of Ireland that you mentioned before.
Oh, yeah.
Der Völkisch and the Staatsräson. Wow.
Wow. Yeah. And yeah, so is there anything else to give?
It's a lot of pressure, you know.
I mean, yeah, it is. How do we solve this?
What is to be done? How do you say
how do
what
we
is to be done in Irish?
So, 5-step program. How do we make the German government woke? Can we do this?
I guess just to kind of that everybody should keep their eye on obviously keep your eye on what's happening in Palestine, but also what's happening with this movement now that it's been evicted from the Bundestag place. Where will it go next? I mean, one journalist who was there was like, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe we're going to get our own campus protest now. Maybe we didn't have one before because of the, trying to put a positive spin on it. So I can imagine, I would be very surprised if it doesn't pop up somewhere else.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just support that whatever way you can. Think of weird ways to get this story into international press.
Yeah.
Come up with your own weird little
Esperanto
nerdy ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like we saw. I mean, I just spend way too much time reading every reply to every fucking thing that I put on the internet.
You never
Oh, no.
don't do that.
But like
Such a masochist.
some criticism we've been getting is that like about the basically because politicians back home are involved. Like Claire Daly's talking
I know
about in the European
exactly
Parliament.
what comment you're talking about.
It's like somehow you're like playing the game of the oppressors by using their institutions and all this. And I'm like, actually, like nothing's happening in Germany. Like something that Germany might actually care about is their international reputation. Like maybe it's a long shot.
Also, like
with like European allies.
For sure,
specifically.
Yeah. I don't. This is a criticism that I never, ever understand in the left. If it's like, if I'm getting attention from somewhere, something, this and that, why not utilize that? It's like I'm not gonna like. Yeah, every member of the doll who like probably signed on to this letter, like you probably don't agree with them, doesn't matter. But it's the fact that they're like taking that action, it's like, yeah, cool. For 2 seconds, this guy's on my side or whatever, and I'm fine with it. Because this like purity politics thing is always like this thing of like, no, if you're not only doing this in your most like obscure like Irish Trotskyist group, then are you really a leftist? And it's like,
it's so
I guess I'm not.
obstructionist.
Yeah.
And like, but also I can never remember either the person who said it or the actual quote itself. But what's that quote that ends like, it'll take all of us pushing at the thing from all sides to bring it down? Do you know this one? It's about kind of revolution.
I don't, but it sounds cool.
It is cool. Yeah, I think
as far as I'm concerned, Quiva just said it now.
Game Cluster 2024. No, it's from a anyway. But it's like no one way works.
Yeah.
It takes all of us pushing at thing from all sides to bring it down. And that always really annoys me when you get these. It's like, yeah, great. Like if you don't think that this means it's gonna work, go and do your own thing. Like let's all do your own thing and hope that it adds up to something effective.
Yeah, and I always get that with like kind of like inter-left discussions about like the what is to be done question. And I was like, well, it hasn't been done yet, so I don't really have the like ego to say one way will work or the other. I'm watching the sidelines eating popcorns being like, someone comes up with a really stupid idea to bring global communism. I'm like, sure, fuck it, give it a go.
Yeah.
We haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Like I think the thing too that's in, like I have to put a little, asterisk there. It's like there's up to a certain point where people, if you start looking around and you're
Nick
like,
is like, no, you guys suck.
no. Like I have to because I know that then some person's gonna take my thing too literally in the sense of like, yes, when you're like lining up and yes, maybe people who are like, have no hair and questionable rune tattoos on, you may not want to be like, I'm not promoting like querfront or whatever, I think that then it's like, or like, maybe I don't want to be on the same side of things as like Hillary Clinton or people like that. But Ireland definitely falls much lower on the like, I think a bunch of members of government within European institutions does not fall into like the evil category quite yet.
And also like it or not, this is the system that we currently operate within. Yeah. Like whether or not you think that another system would be preferable, like I don't understand the argument that pushing back via the existing channels is a complete betrayal. I think it's like, obviously it's not the best case scenario, but
yeah, these people they're obsessed with the idea that that being close to any sort of power institutions like taints you somewhat, and then like you're not pure anymore, and then so the only way to actually be a true radical or progressive is to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Obviously we all agree that the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house, but also
and probably that
let's
one
make
cop
Germany feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
And that one cop with the swastika on his shoulder is probably not my friend.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the thing, too, is that then I always mention this every time whenever we talk about the police in Germany. That the place I have seen the most questionable, and I will use the word questionable, not the N word, is, like tattoos has been in a police station in Berlin.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
So confused by what you meant with the N word there.
Oh, sorry.
The other one.
The other one. The one that you can't say in Germany. No.
Because you can't say the other one, unfortunately.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. That N word you can perfectly say here, no problem. I guess you can say it everywhere.
It's a great country.
Germany, legally, I cannot call the police a certain N word because that falls under a thing that apparently they don't like. And
you have to wait for the Verfassungsschutz to call them that first.
Yeah, exactly. I have to get the approval from the state before I can call someone a Nazi. So
yes, okay, we finally said the word.
Well, yeah, because
I was sweating. This is gonna be cut.
No.
So you guys free tomorrow to do this again?
Yes, I knew
like someone is gonna take that clip, like that British journalist that I love and adore, that he took that 1 second clip from one random. That I was like, I love Putin or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, see, they're pro Putin, like whatever. So they're gonna do the same with you.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, Nick wants to be racist.
German.
I've been living in Germany too long. I'm sorry. Like it's I've been drinking the Kool-Aid too much. Yes, maybe I do want to call those marshmallow candies a racial slur.
God, that fucking Zeit magazine cover of like, what's this called? And it was just like the chocolate that used to be named after a slur, and you're just like, don't do this, man. Don't fucking do this. Don't make this your front cover.
You want to talk about racist candy in Spain?
Okay. Every European country has a rich tradition.
We don't have time for this.
Yeah,
that's like a whole other episode. Okay, so anything to shout out other than paying attention to what happens to... It's a great follow.
I guess follow Irish Black Berlin on Instagram. It's like the official channel. But yeah, we're just taking our lead from the camp organizers, really. So follow them as well. That's basically it.
And Palestina Congress.
Yes.
Keep your eye on them. They deserve all of our support with
sure.
whatever they decide to do now.
Links to all of that will be in the description. Quiva, Matt, thank you for coming on.
Thanks a lot.
And the only thing we have to shout out is Gyrovision.
It's sold out, no?
There is one ticket. Okay, on point of recording, I don't know when this will be released. There is one ticket that can be bought left. All money goes to Medical Aid Palestine for our boycott-friendly Eurovision show. There are also, if those haven't been given away yet, there are 2 free tickets available to give out to anyone who wants them. DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and I will give them to you.
Where is it?
It's in Neukölln, between The exact address I've forgotten, but it's between Sonnenallee Station and Neukölln S-Bahn and Bahnhof stations. Yes.
It's my Keats.
Is that your Keats?
Nice.
Do you want the free ticket? There is one free ticket.
Let's talk about this off air.
You just go through proper channels. And and if with the tickets sold out, if you're in another country, it'll be on twitch.tv/Corner Späti until Universal Music Group shuts us down for this, what is probably a highly illegal stream.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And with that, we will catch you on the bonus feed. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.